Welcome to But Frankly Pierce News. I'm Arthur Fairview. Here's what we're facing. Have you ever accidentally replied all in an email? Ever wish you could take it back? Well, China does. The World Health Organization is calling on officials in China to release data that may show a link between animals and the virus that sparked the COVID-19 pandemic. The data was posted briefly on an international database and then abruptly taken down over the weekend.
Taken down? As in covert ops? Guns a-blazing?
I think he meant removed, as in a mouse click, select, and delete.
Oh.
The data was from environmental samples collected at a Wuhan seafood and meat market in the early days of the pandemic. International scientists spotted the material online and made copies of it before it was taken down. The information appears to show that genetic material from raccoon dogs and the virus that causes COVID were found in the same swabs, implying that the animals may have been an initial host. It's important to note that a related virus from the intermediate host has not been found, but sources say there's a bunch of other evidence.
Does this sound familiar to you?
It does. Something about a 19th century cholera outbreak?
Correct. The data zeroing in on the Huanan market seems to be as compelling as the data that in 1854 indicated to Dr. John Snow that a water pump in London was poisoning people who used it, thus launched the field of outbreak investigations by figuring out the source of a cholera outbreak in the city in the mid-19th century. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Notice the color, the aroma, a nice roundness to its mouthfeel. Aromatic, never bitter, sweet vanilla and mellowed oak with a welcoming amount of heat. That is the quintessential bourbon. Black & Barn, the quintessential bourbon.
Last year, or 230 days ago, we began a countdown of sorts, reminding you of how many days since the insurrection and the fact that the failed former president has not been indicted or charged with any crimes. It's been 575 days, 596 days, 623 days, 637 days, 651 days, 665 days. It's been 679 days, 686 days, 700 days, 714 days, 742 days, 763 days. It has been 791 days.
Yes, we know.
That may be changing.
Oh? Do tell.
With multiple investigations into the aforementioned failed former president, it seems the oddest of them may be coming to a head soon. The failed former president refused to appear before a grand jury in New York, and now it seems that he might finally be charged.
Wait, really?
With what?
He might be charged in connection with hush money paid to adult film actress Stormy Daniels, but there has been no official announcement of any plans for the indictment.
So another bit of prognostication.
More wishful thinking.
Well, maybe not. The failed former president... Can I just say FFP?
Go for it.
Go for it.
This past weekend, the FFP took to social media and cited illegal leaks that he would be arrested Tuesday, and he called for protests.
Methinks you dot protest too much.
The Manhattan District Attorney's Office declined to comment on whether it will soon be pursuing an arrest warrant for Trump. But the Associated Press reported that law enforcement officials in New York are making security preparations in possible anticipation that Trump may be indicted in coming weeks. If it does occur, Trump would become the first former president to be indicted in U.S. history.
And there was much rejoicing.
But Art, that was yesterday.
And he still has not been arrested or indicted or charged with anything.
I know, yes, I know. Yet again, proceedings have been postponed. But it should be noted that before any arrest can happen, justice officials may have to cross the Patriot moat.
The Patriot?
Moat?
FFP supporters have called for a so-called Patriot moat to surround the former president's Mar-a-Lago estate to prevent him from being arrested, as well as protest to shut down New York City.
A handful of Trump supporters gathered at Trump Tower and in Palm Beach, where diehards are calling for a Patriot moat to surround Mar-a-Lago.
Some have called on Governor
Other Florida, man.
Desanitize?
DeSantis to call out the National Guard to prevent the FFP from being extradited to New York. In a press conference, DeSantis denounced the New York Attorney General.
He's trying to do a political spectacle. He's trying to virtue signal for his base.
But in true political fashion, DeSantis also mocked the FFP.
I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. I can't speak to that.
The former president made the arrest prediction in a furious all-caps post on his Truth social platform on Saturday morning and called on his supporters to protest any arrest and to take our nation back.
Oh, no. Not again.
They were peaceful people. These were great people. The crowd was unbelievable. And I mentioned the word love, the love in the air. I've never seen anything like it.
His supporters were quick to make suggestions about how they could back the FFP and stop authorities from taking the Republican politician into custody.
Do I want to hear how they intend to do this?
Some suggestions include surround Mar-a-Lago or wherever he currently is and prevent law enforcement from entering. Protest around him before the arrest. FFS people, this ain't rocket science, wrote another person on a thread entitled, Trump to be arrested on Tuesday, our government is lost.
Isn't 45 the one who lost it?
Pick a blue city, park on the freeways and shut it down. It would be easy to do this to New York. Just block the bridges and tunnels. They don't have enough cops left to do anything.
They can't be serious.
Oh, it gets worse. Still another added, a circle of riflemen within a 1-mile radius of his current location, a smaller circle always in the same room with him.
This is madness. It's madness, I tell you, for the love of God!
There was one sane voice amidst the lunacy. One user warned the other people on the forum about the legality of some of the threats being made, writing, LMAO, good idea. Let's plan crimes on this publicly accessible website.
Unhinged mobs aside, if and or when Trump goes to jail, what happens to his Secret Service detail?
Are they released from their duties, responsibilities, or do they have to go to jail too?
The bigger question is, will there be protests? Will the remainder of the FFP supporters heed his request?
Are you serious?
And now, a moment of truth, and I quote, the earth is round. 2 + 2 = 4. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won the 2020 election for president and vice president of the United States. The election was not stolen, rigged, or fixed. These are facts. They are demonstrable and irrefutable.
That's the fact, Jack! That's a fact, Jack!
This is the opening paragraph of a $2.7 billion defamation lawsuit, not by Dominion Voting Systems, but by Smartmatic, an election and software technology company, against Fox News, Fox Core, and some of the network's hosts, as well as FFP's personal counsel, Rudy Giuliani.
So there is another lawsuit filed against Fox News?
Now that's going to leave a mark.
According to Smartmatic's complaint, the defendants repeated on at least 13 different broadcasts the following false narrative. Smartmatic was a Venezuelan company under the control of corrupt dictators from socialist countries. In the defendant's story, Smartmatic's election technology and software were used in many of the states with close outcomes. And in the defendant's story, Smartmatic was responsible for stealing the 2020 election by switching and altering votes to rig the election for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
So the Dominion lawsuit is suing for $1.6 billion, and now Smartmatic is suing for $2.7 billion. How much is Fox really worth?
How much a company is worth is typically represented by its market capitalization, or the current stock price multiplied by the number of shares outstanding. Fox's net worth as of March 17th, 2023 was $15.95 billion.
Well, it's going to be worth a lot less, and keeping those shareholders is going to be much harder.
Significantly, in addition, Smartmatic argues in its lawsuit that the defendant's dissemination of the lies created the perfect environment for a mob attack on the U.S. Capitol, and those lies undermine people's belief in democracy. It also asks that the defendants fully and completely retract their false statements and implications about Smartmatic. For Fox in particular, having to affirmatively admit that what it peddled to its viewers were lies could be one of the worst punishments the network could suffer. Now, it's time for
The deuce, you say?
The state of Maine is cracking down on vanity license plates. When the state effectively ended the review process for so-called vanity plates in 2015, some residents filled their plates with all manner of profanities, including F-bombs either spelled out or abbreviated.
Well, I can sort of see that.
Kids do say the darndest things.
Now, a Maine vegan whose custom license plate contains the word tofu is one of the motorists caught in a state crackdown on vulgar tags.
Tofu? Like coagulated soybean curd?
Nope. That stuff is, well...
I hate it.
The state concluded the license plate, Love Tofu, could have been seen as a reference to sex instead of admiration for bean curd. The motorist insisted there was no mistaking his intent because the back of his car has several tofu-related stickers. The new rules ban derogatory references to age, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, national origin, religion, or disability. Also banned is language that incites violence or is considered obscene. Secretary of State Shenna Bellows said motorists have the freedom to express themselves, but she said that they should do it on a bumper sticker, not a state-issued license plate. She was quoted stating, "We have a public interest in keeping phrases and words that are profane or may incite violence off the roadways." It's been 805 days since the January 6th attack on the Capitol and our democracy, and failed former President Trump has still not been indicted or charged with anything. This has been my Frankly Pierce News. Thanks for watching. I'm Arthur Fairview. Each morning, our key to the world comes through the door. More than often, it's just a comic, not much more. Don't take it too serious. Not many do. Read between the lines, and you'll find the truth. News of the world.
Yeah.